My name is Caitlyn Nolan. I'm an assistant softball coach at Ohio State University. Played a couple seasons overseas. I played my college career at Virginia Tech. Played there from 2015 to 2019. That is where I met Coach Randall, who she joined our team my senior year, which we were at least top 5 in home runs that season. We had huge power numbers. My numbers went from, I think I had 3 home runs my junior year to 19. Ridiculous numbers. So I met her there. I stayed a couple years at Virginia Tech to be a student assistant. Decided I wanted to keep playing, tried to find an avenue to play, found a team in Italy, and kind of moved from there. Played there for 2 seasons until I got a job last year at Miami University as an assistant coach there. Spent 1 season there, and then now I'm beginning my first season at Ohio State. My sophomore year, about halfway through the season, I tore my ACL and medial meniscus. So I spent the rest of that year, I think I was cleared in January that next season. So that was going into my junior year. I played that full season. I remember I had like my brace and everything on before I felt comfortable enough to take it off. And then my senior year was my last year with that. So an ACL reconstruction and then medial meniscus tear. Going into it, obviously, you know, it's a huge physical thing to overcome. I think I was more surprised with how mental it was. I think once I got over the mental part of it, then I think the physical part turned into, are you doing the right things? So it's, are you building the muscles up around it? Are you taking care of yourself? Are you recovering correctly? That gave me the mental power, I guess, to keep going and to feel confident in what I was doing. So I think you definitely always have like a little, like something in the back of your head. Maybe someday you tweak it, or if it's raining outside, it feels a little bit sore. But I think if you know that you're doing the stuff physically to make sure that you're taking care of your body, then that gives you the mental power to keep moving through that. And that kind of what keeps me going. So I knew that people played overseas because some of my previous teammates had played in like New Zealand. I knew people that had played in Japan. So I knew that was an option. I didn't know how many countries actually did play softball and had opportunities. So I started reaching out. I found a website called Softball Jobs Overseas. Started looking through the website. I filled out like a questionnaire and someone contacted me. And that's how I kind of started building that relationship. They made a profile for me and threw it online. And I had like a couple countries that I was interested in. Obviously, Italy was like top of my list. Everybody wants to go to Italy. They helped me get in contact with teams, find a team that was a fit for me. So that's how I kind of got connected into that. At the time, I was still in Blacksburg, so I was finishing my last year as a student assistant. It at that time was also kind of not right in the middle of COVID, but it was still something that was going pretty strong. So a lot of the gyms and stuff were closed. So I had literally some weight racks. I bought a 300-pound weight set from, I think, Dick's Sporting Goods. I bought 50-pound dumbbells, adjustable dumbbells from somebody on some app. And that's what I had in my living room. So I would send the pictures and stuff to Coach Randall. This is what I got. I think I ended up buying some bands too. So I literally trained to get ready to go play my first professional season in my living room in Blacksburg, Virginia, in my apartment. So we made that work, and then it went from there. I think for me, obviously, like my background being a Division I athlete, I spent a lot of time in the weight room. I also have an older brother who is a physical trainer as well. So I'm familiar with a lot of movements and stuff like that, and kind of how the body works and programs, and that stuff that is pretty comfortable for me. Obviously, like you want someone that knows way more than you to do stuff for you. I knew you from Virginia Tech. I knew that you knew what you were talking about, and that was the best shape that I was in my entire life was my senior year. So I knew that I definitely wanted to work with you. I think the online aspect of it can be difficult, but I think if you put into it, then you'll get the same thing out, and you can send videos, get corrected, you can ask questions, you can get things substituted if you need. Like I said, you can send the equipment that you have and have a workout personalized exactly for that. So I knew with that, as long as I was open and had a good line of communication, that I could make that work and go from there. And it for me, it was the only thing that I could do at the time because I was going overseas, but it was the same thing when I got there. I assessed kind of what training equipment I had, when I would be able to lift, what my practice schedules looked like, and then I had a personalized program built around that. Maybe this day I was throwing more, so we would do something to make sure we're protecting my arm. This day we had conditioning with the team, so I would do something different. So it was week to week or with the equipment that I had there. So, I mean, for me, it was perfect because you didn't have to try to find a time where the schedules worked together. I kind of had something at the start of the week. I could ask questions before or during or whenever I wanted and make it work that way. For me, the biggest thing, obviously everybody wants to be like strong and fast. Like that's an obvious thing. I think for me, the reason like Max Sports programs work so well is that it focuses a lot on like mobility and is making sure your body is moving the way that it should. Plyometrics, you're not just doing stuff where it's like throwing heavy weight and like, okay, maybe I'm strong, but then now I go to practice, I'm absolutely crushed, or I can't move in the way that I need to move. So for me, it is being able to be strong, but also mobile. And that's what I think all of your programs do a really good job of, is just making sure that, okay, we're building strength, we're getting stronger, but we're doing it in ways that's going to translate over to the field. I mean, once you see results with something like that, you're like, man, I feel really, really strong. And I feel like I can move and like I feel good. I don't feel crushed going into a game. Once you see results like that, then it's a no-brainer. I've never, like after the fact, had any, I would say, major issues with my knee. There's obviously some movements that my knee it doesn't like. So I can just feel it like pinch, or maybe if I'm doing a movement and I feel it and I'm just like, okay, if I continue doing this movement, it's not going to be happy with me at the end of it. So it's just little tweaks like that where it's like, okay, I need to hit whatever this muscle group is. This is something that maybe I don't think that I could put full effort into that. And it's adjusting from movement to movement. So it's anything that we program, like it was done, I think, with the intention of like a healthy body. And if there was something that it was like, hey, look, it doesn't feel great, or I don't feel like I can load a lot of weight in this movement because of this, and I think it would just be better to move to something different, then it was something that we could easily fix and find an alternative route for. Again, I think whatever you put in is what you're going to get out, which I know is a really cliche way to put it. I just know my mindset, like whenever I graduated and I decided that that was something that I wanted to do, it was kind of like a get out of my way type of mindset. Like it's like, if you're going to help me with it, great. If you're going to be something that is distracting to me, it's not something that I was willing to sacrifice for. So I made it work. I knew what I needed. I knew the gyms were closed. I knew that I couldn't go in and work like in Virginia Tech's facilities because of like the athletic bubble and things like that. So you just start looking. Like I said, I found an app where I could find cheap dumbbells. I found where they were selling stuff, and you make it work. So I think if it's something that you want, you find ways to make it happen. And that's exactly what we did. Obviously, I was lucky that I knew you. I immediately reached out to you, and then this is what I have. And then we built programs from there. And I mean, that was the strongest I had ever been. COVID was terrible, but it was something that there was nothing else to do. So it was this goal that I had. I couldn't go anywhere, so it's my gym's in my living room, so let's just do everything here. So it's whatever you want, you have to go get and make happen. And then that was the best decision that I had ever made, was to go to live in a country for 2 years. I didn't know the language. I didn't know anybody there. First season overseas, I was the only foreign player that was on the roster. So it's you're learning a new language. Obviously, my team was amazing. They really took me under their wing and made sure that I was taken care of. So I was lucky in that aspect, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. I mean, every rep in the living room, all of it was worth it, and it was something that I would recommend to everybody. The app is, everybody always is on their phone. So for me, I always had like a notebook that I would take into a gym. So having the app where I didn't have to do that, I already had my phone with me, listening to music or whatever, that I could just go. The rest sets and everything's always in there. So you can click, you don't have to go to any other app. Everything's right there written out for you. You can see previous weight that are there. There's no guesswork with that. If there was something and I'm like, oh man, what does this movement look like? Or I need to see another example for it, literally click the video. The video's right there. It's like, okay, maybe these are some focus points that I need to work on, or something I need to focus on while I'm doing this particular exercise. So for me, that convenience was awesome, which again, I think helps with when you're doing something online, like maybe you don't have a coach right there, but everything is literally laid out for you where you almost have to try to mess up, because again, there's examples of stuff and cues and stuff to think about like while you're doing the movement. There's also nutrition is in there, so if you're tracking nutrition, everything could be all in one spot. So for me, it was super convenient, super easy to use. It's not something that was very complicated. And then overall, I think like max sports performance with my situation, it was, I don't know of any other type of program that would have been able to bend to what I was asking. Obviously, like I said, I didn't have a lot of resources or somewhere that I could go to train in the beginning. That was, completely alleviated just from, okay, this is what I have, this is what I need, and then just get to work. And then obviously you're going overseas. I didn't have a car. I didn't have anything there. We had like a little section in our indoor facility that had, I think, a couple squat racks and some weights, and I was like, this is what we have some bands, and make it work. So I think for me in my career, it was the only thing that I could have done to be successful. I don't know if anything else that would have adjusted in the ways that I needed to make me be a better athlete.